Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you, Lisa. Perfect. So good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us on this presentation on lessons learned online mathematics education today and going forward. Just to give you a quick roadmap of what to expect, we'll talk about our history and our vision. We'll talk about our lessons learned over the last year and a half. Then we'll dive right into our platform and speak about some of our new features and developments. Who are we? Some may call us dreamers. Others may look at us as go-getters. However, we like to define ourselves by our vision, which is a world where everyone enjoys math. My name is Shoeb, Mozammel, and this here is my colleague James Howell, and we'd like to welcome you to Vretta. Starting from our humble beginnings back in 2010, a dream and a vision was brought to fruition and Vretta was born. From our inception up until now, there's one constant that has remained, and that is our commitment to student success and instructor satisfaction by working closely with instructors to create a hybrid model and a personalized learning approach for students, which is meant to eliminate fear and math anxiety, with one-of-a-kind content that breaks down abstract mathematical concepts into their practical applications and presenting them through an engaging and captivating experience. We have truly evolved over the years, keeping one thing in mind: student and instructor. As our aspirations grew, so did our reach and product offerings as we introduced Intro Math, our platform catering to post-secondary institutions and housing resources ranging from business math all the way up to OERs like technical mathematics, calculus, and many more. Accompanying each resource are interactive and engaging lessons and customizable labs built in with a unique test bank with thousands of algorithmically generated questions and dashboards to view individual or class performance. We then went on to introduce Elevate My Math, our diagnostic platform, which assesses students' strengths and areas of improvement in preparation for their upcoming college math courses. Elevate My Math is comprised of various topic areas broken down into 3 parts: diagnostic, upgrading, and summative. As Elevate My Math's popularity and reach grew, various faculties of education adopted Elevate My Math for their teacher candidates, either as a math refresher or as an actual assignment for a Math for Educators course, where usually a grade for completion is assigned. We then moved on to the United Kingdom as we've been working with the National Association of School-Based Teacher Trainers, where currently over 80 member institutes have adopted Elevate My Math for their teacher candidates. So what are some of the lessons that we've learned over the last year and a half? Well, the first thing that we noticed was the transition from hybrid to fully online was rather smooth for our clients, as there wasn't such a big hurdle for them to jump in order to make the move, as they were already accustomed to our platform. The next thing we noticed was the interactive lessons provided a personalized learning experience that supplemented the lack of in-class time for students. This was especially paramount for specific students who required that extra bit of remedial help on particular topic areas. So they were able to go into the lesson stat, which breaks down the concepts into micro steps for them, make it easy for them to go about it and conceptualize with the material. Next, the demand for digital testing solutions increased substantially. This is especially true at the beginning of the pandemic, as we noticed a vast number of instructors really scouring for a secure platform to host and administer their tests and exams. And lastly, new features had to be designed and deployed to meet the needs of our clients. This was not only true for new features, but also in relation to developing specific lesson content, which had to be directly aligned to the teaching of that particular course. So our vision is a world where everyone enjoys math. And in order to bring that vision to reality, we live by our philosophy and our own formula per se, which is affordable plus flexible plus engaging equals happy. So along with creating flexible and engaging resources, we understand just how vital affordability is to a good education and when it comes to satisfying both students and instructors. So living by this code is very important to us. Okay, so now I will actually pass it off to James, who will take over and show us a demo show you some of the new features that we have introduced here at Vretta. So James, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Shoeb. Just give me one moment here. Okay. So we put together this quick little sample just to go over some of the new features we have. Most of you already are familiar with our system, so we tried to put everything together that was new and easy to see. With the exception of our new review marks, I'm going to have to show you that on static slides because we had to we had to hide student names. We wouldn't want to reveal any data, but we had to also have data and the dashboards filled so you can see how they work. So the first thing I'm going to do is just go through our Excel validation and spreadsheet grading feature. This was a new feature we added to business mathematics as well as our business statistics resources in line with the requirements going on in today's online and hybrid world. So it does exist within our labs. I'm just going to open it up and show you what it looks like. So we have, selected questions, and we're working with our clients to expand the questions available, where the student will get a question and it indicates to them to download a spreadsheet template. I've already gone ahead and filled it in here just for time's sake, but basically they download it and it will have an explanation of what is required. Oops, let me just open that. What is required in the fields to put in and others that are just optional to put in. So they get a little map, okay, and then they click upload, and then they'll get exactly this here. And then they can actually submit. Oops, I have too many Excel files open, okay. And then they can click submit. And it will actually grade the formulas, and it'll grade what's there. And it also provides, very common to Vretta, is multiple solutions for different questions. So again, it will have that financial calculator, the algebraic, and the spreadsheet one as well. It also lets them download a spreadsheet template that is algorithmically matched to those numbers. So all of these lab questions will change each and every time. Names and place names will change, proper nouns will change, and all of the numbers change within these predefined ranges for equal performance expectations. That template that the student gets as well at the end will be matching to the one they had. So in the background, there's multiple variants there. It's really cool. We've received nothing but positive feedback on that. And we're just looking to expand this into other areas as well. It's really the next evolution of grading with Excel. We also, and this came in a slightly different area, but it's a similar thing. So some people, for testing, it wasn't enough just to use either our logbook, which I'll get to in a moment, or something like our spreadsheet tool. They actually wanted handwritten solutions provided by students next to their test. So in line with either having an open book test or requiring proctoring for a test in a purely online environment, they needed a way to collect all of the files from the students. And instead of having it in your personal Dropbox or on a folder somewhere in another web page, if they were testing on Vretta, it became apparent that they needed somewhere for students to upload their handwritten work at the end of the assignment. So you can see here, there's nothing for the spreadsheets or any of the questions. It's at the very end of the lab. They just click upload, and they can, the supported files are Word doc, PDF, .txt, or JPEG, PNG. So they could just, I'll take that same one, upload. It'll go in, it gives a timestamp, and it will show up right next to the student's work in our review marks. So I'm going to go over to our logbook first, which is not review marks. And then lastly, I'm going to show you guys what review marks is. But in the review marks, you can now see either the spreadsheets uploaded, our logbook content, or actually download this with that timestamp when they uploaded it during the test. Typically for instructors using this upload, they would ask either the students to do it per question or at the very end of the question. We recommend, if you're going to do it and it's for handwritten work, to do it at the very end, unless it's a massive case study type question, and to put instructions to the students or an announcement out to save uploading their work till the very end. That way you don't get any time, and they do have the ability to remove and upload again. Oops, I'm just going to submit that. Now I'm going to go to the last feature. So some of you are familiar with our logbook. I do see familiar faces out there, but it has expanded. So our logbook, I'm just going to go in. This was actually designed for pre-calculus and calculus students, and it gives them the ability to actually use an equation editor as well as simplify algebra. Oh no. Simplify algebra next to the actual question. Let's see. Yeah. Okay. That's not good. I actually went in and I wrote it all out because I didn't want to spend too much time doing it, but let's see if I can do this on the fly really quickly.
You got this, James.
So I'll show you right now. So the logbook allows the students to write, okay, in text, in math, and also in chart form. For this type of question, I won't need chart form. So we're just going to do x equals 6, and it's going to be y minus 13. Okay, now I'm going to multiply here. You guys can tell me right away if I'm doing this wrong. But yeah. 13. Okay. 6. How am I doing so far? Probably bad. Okay.
You're good.
You're good. You're good to go.
13. So I know the answer is this. Okay, so now I got to go xy is 13x, and then that's going to be divided by x. It's oh, sorry, that should be 6x, right? And then it's going to become, I could go 2 steps over. It's going to be, no, I shouldn't. I want to show you everything. So the idea here is the full solution shows next to the response when you're reviewing the mark as well. So here it's just divide by x for both, and it's going to be y minus 13 equals 6 over x. Okay, and then it's going to be, oh, I made a mistake somewhere, didn't I? Well, I know the answer is y equals 19. Okay, so if this is my submitted response as a student, when you go in on, sorry? Okay, I thought I heard a comment there, but essentially after this is submitted here from the student, so when they click submit, they'll get their response, they'll see what they're doing. So I did answer those and fill those in correctly. And then if we go over to the actual review marks, we could see the student's input next to the actual thing and line by line as they did it. Typically when we're using the logbook as well, you'll actually see the instructions that the testor or the test has, and you'll see the students actually go through exactly what I did. Each line I deleted, you'll be able to see on the block, so you can see their thinking and their pattern as they're going through to better understand their question and assign those partial marks throughout. So we do build questions with 5 or 10 marks for each and every. Yes, thank you, Sandra. I think I did get that one wrong, but we can look at it afterwards. But yeah, I got it wrong for that first one, and then for the second and third one I got it correct because I did the algebra beforehand, but the numbers changed when I came back in, Sandra. So yeah, I was doing it wrong. Another really cool thing I did want to show you is we're embedding some really cool interactive components from other resources out there to further expand our ability. So this is actually something we have in trades. And I think it's really cool, next level. So it starts very much similar to ours with production. And it's just like our typical
Vernier caliper
lessons.
consists basically of a stationary
So,
bar and a movable vernier slide
so
assembly.
it introduces the explanation. It explains to the student how to engage with this practice tool to go through it. And then it has little practice areas and self-assessments very akin to our actual lessons as well. And it lets students, practice using the vernier caliper or, micrometers in different activities. They can go through and see different measurements. and see what it actually will look like, okay, on the tool itself, to give them that pragmatic so what and why. And then it would go to the assessment and give them a problem and try and get them to actually find what that looks like. So this was a really cool adaptation. It wasn't specifically for the pandemic, but it's something that, you know, during the pandemic, we really worked with our external partners to expand our offerings and make things work for them in our system. Okay, and if anyone wants to look at our trades resource, feel free to reach out to us. We've got a lot more than just vernier calipers here. Now, the last thing I'm going to do is the review marks. So just give me a moment. That's going to be back on our slides. How are we doing for time?
We're good.
Perfect. Okay, so just a quick recap. There was that logbook, which gives them an equation editor and algebra tool to work through the math. There's also spreadsheets in the logbook. So some professors want them to record and work things in a spreadsheet without that validation. So that's also available, but that's just kind of a blank table that they input what they would do, and they show their formulas that way. We do have a spreadsheet validation tool within our labs, and we do have the ability to upload work. Most of this was done specifically for tests. And now I'm just going to show you the new review marks feature. So some of you who are using Intromath may have opened up review marks, and you see it like this now. And you know, if we didn't tell you, you might have been surprised, but then we give you a quick rundown and you really like the way it works now. Previously, it was just kind of a list column, and you had to go each and every student through each and everything, and it actually took too long. So in the first spring that the pandemic happened, the winter semester, you know, if you had 200 students in one merged section, it took you very long to go through, and you were unable to mark question by question. So one of the requests that came up is we need a way to mark question by question. There's these handful of questions, we're looking at their marks, and I need to just go through those one by one. So we gave it a new format like this, where you could click on details, but at a glance, you know, you can see your class average, and you can see, this is actually a pretty good class, I must say, sorry. So other than the assessment 0, which I'm guaranteeing you is worth no marks, the class looks like they're doing pretty well. So if you clicked on details here, you would come to the actual resource. So I clicked on lab 2. You'll see the average time of completion. You'll see the average number of attempts. So if this was your setup and you had, you know, between 3 and 5 attempts, you know, hey, those students aren't taking attempt 3 and 5, at least on average. So I want to get to look at it more in depth. If you hovered over this, and again, I'm using static images so that this doesn't happen, it would actually reveal a list, okay, with our tooltip feature of which of those students are those 11. So very quickly at a glance, you know, the 11 students that didn't submit it, I want to look at those first to see if there's just a submission that was late and I want to override it and force the mark in, or I need to go speak to them right away. And then you can select your student from your class list. It shows up nicely on the right. Again, I couldn't provide an image of that. But then once you have your student selected, okay, and again, the name's been cropped out, you'll see each and every question, their submitted response, the solution if you're in doubt. But I picked an easy one here just so there was no doubts. And you can go through each and every question by student now. So you can look at just question 1 and look through your entire student list. You also have this really cool analytics page here to see your question analytics. It'll show you the questions within a bucket. If there are multiple ones, the average time for completion and success rate is differentiated. So this lets you actually pick and look at your questions in a different way. Is this one too hard? Is this one just right? Is this one too easy? Maybe I'll change it for my next cohort. It's also exportable. Okay, so there's little 3 dots there, and you can click that and you get your class, every question, that success rate, and the average time of completion. And another little kind of hidden one here is shuffle. So it also became apparent that during testing, online testing, you know, teachers liked to use shuffle, some of them, not all of them, to further variate their tests. And if they were marking question by question and one student got a different shuffle than the other, it became confusing to mark handwritten work because you would never know the order. So very quickly, we were able to add this little shuffle toggle, and it lets you view the questions either as you set them up on your end or as the student received them. And when you hover over it, it tells you which way you're looking at it at that point. So all of these new review marks features that we've added really expand the capability of an instructor when they're doing online tests or exams, so they can focus on either the students that need that additional support or the questions that they want to assign those partial marks. So this lets you have, machine graded questions, 60% of the time, and then 40% of them are your hand marked questions. And you can very quickly look at each and every one of them and assign the marks the right way. This entire tool was built with the instructor focus to make it easier for you guys to go through all of those marks. At this point, I'll pass it off to Shoeb. Thank you, Sandra. Sorry.
Perfect. Thanks, James. So going back to Elevate My Math and OCMT, especially Elevate My Math, at the end of Elevate My Math, all students can receive a badge or a certificate, sort of like a certificate of achievement. And these can be conditioned on the completion of topics and assessments or just based on score. And our platform is interoperable and secure. I'm sure as many of you know, we actually seamlessly integrate with a lot of LMSs from Blackboard all the way up to Brightspace. One feedback that we tend to get from a lot of instructors are not only do they like how seamless integration is, but they love how they don't have to do much work at all. Once the integration process is done, the platform does the rest for them, syncing their grades and whatnot. Okay, and in terms of value, I feel like our platform helps increase the overall student success in programs, helps increase the first semester retention rates, and I think most importantly, we are Canadian owned and operated with secure data and privacy. Over the years, our list of higher education partners has definitely grown, especially as more faculty and institutions have gotten more familiar with us, and as they've noticed that the true impact our platform has had on student success. We've actually recently made our foray into the US, more specifically the state of Michigan, as we have Kalamazoo Valley Community College and Macomb Community College also using our platform. We are truly global with over 70 staff members spanning across North America, all the way to Europe and Asia. Vretta never sleeps as we work tirelessly to ensure that we're there for both students and instructors whenever they need us. English is also not our only forte, as we built custom resources in 3 other languages, French, German, and Portuguese. So who are we? We'll leave that up for others' interpretation. However, our vision is a world where everyone enjoys math. And our goal is to bring that statement to fruition, one student at a time. Thank you. We'll open it up for questions now. Julian, please.
Hi, thanks. I had a question about the logbook. The students have the ability to show their work, either uploading images of their work and also by using that equation editor. Is there something that could capture their handwriting if they had like an electronic stylus, something like that?
At this point, there isn't like a notepad for them to write in that way. But if they were using a stylus on, like a Surface Pro and they made it into a doc really quickly, they could upload it that way.
We have a question in the chat. Hello, and thank you for the presentation. What are the current tools for proctoring that Intromath can offer?
So great question. Vretta does not offer proctoring services. Proctoring services are usually done by companies that do that wholeheartedly, specifically, guys like ProctorU or Proctorio, Examity. We've integrated successfully with a lot of those, but in and of itself, we do not have a proctoring solution.
James, we have another question. Are students recorded during the test?
No. But I do know one of the ways some of our clients are doing tests is they'll sign up students, into the session, and they'll ask them for their student ID. They'll identify them before the start of the test. either through Zoom or whatever screen sharing services they do as well. If they are using a Proctor solution, like we integrate with that as well. So either the instructor themselves is proctoring or they're using a third party on our system. And in those scenarios, recordings would be possible. Sorry, but we don't have anything that captures video itself.
All right, James, and another question, are the answers time stamped?
Yes, each and every submission has, when it was submitted. The individual questions on the logbook will also have timestamps, or anytime they uploaded work in at that point will be visible to the instructor and review marks. And they're also recorded for time. We don't have a way displaying, so you'll see the average time per question, but we don't have a way of displaying when an individual student did submit a question next to another one, but we could provide that data if it was requested.
Okay, James, we have another question. Do the timestamps end up on the Excel download?
Yes, yes. Yeah, each file upload will have its own timestamp. Looks like there's a raised hand as well.
I think that was Julian who asked the question earlier.
Actually, is there a way that you can go back to your lessons learned slide, Shoeb, and just show that for a second?
For sure, James.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
No problem.
Was it a typo you thought you said, Julian? I'm just curious.
No, I was just looking at kind of the summary of the lessons learned from, pandemic teaching, and I would say those are some important points.
We also have another question. Is there a limit on the file size uploaded?
Yeah, there definitely is, and it's going to be across. It's going to be dependent on the format. So it's going to be different for a JPEG or a Word doc or an Excel file. I don't have those offhand, but they're pretty generous. They're not really tight. We haven't found the upward limit of it yet, but that doesn't mean we won't in the future. We're expanding the Excel validation to our business case studies where the workbooks could get potentially large. But yeah, if you want, I'm not sure who asked that question, but I can follow up and send you a list of all of the formats and their file size, if you'd like. Yeah.
Okay, James, we have a couple more questions. So one is, can your platform sell only the assessment section, or do we have to compulsory buy a book?
So we do have. We do pair most of our resources with an e-textbook. We also pair it with OERs as an option. So some of our clients are using open education resources, whether it be OpenStax or something else. And we do pair our platform with those resources. And we work with, the partners or the course leader to make sure it's customized and meets the learning objectives and it's not so mismatched. We try and keep everything together in one place because we feel like that works best for the students and their learning.
We have time for, we should be wrapping up. Was there any more questions? Or was there one more question still that we should just?
Yeah, I guess let's just tackle one more. There is, does it accept HEIC files? A lot of students tend to upload those since it is the format of an iPhone picture.
Yeah, it does if they're using Safari, and I think Firefox as well. I could double check that as well, but I know HEIC won't come through in Chrome that well.
James, we have one final one from Sandra. It's, do they see the algorithm first before the Excel upload, or is it hidden?
The algorithm first, it should be hidden in the Excel upload. I actually prepared it first, which is why it was there displayed and then it disappeared, but no, they won't see anything. They'll just have the download on an Excel upload file.
Okay, I think we're at 10 o'clock, so we should probably wrap up, but thank you very much. This has been really great. Did you, if there's any follow-up questions, you can send them through us and we'll make sure you get them, or get your emails out there so that they can send you a question directly.
Please.
So thank you very much.
Yeah,
I think we're
Thank you,
starting it.
everyone. Appreciate it.
Right.
Bye.